Mississippi River Queen, Annie Christmas, and her sidekick, Charlie. I believe it's also her brother, if I'm not mistaken. Now, Annie Christmas is a melee fighter with 14 health. Charlie is a ranged fighter with 8 health. They have a move of 2. The ability is add +2 to the value of Annie's attacks if she has less health than the defender. And then 5 attack Annie card, Lanyap, is 3 copies and immediately deal up to 2 damage to Annie to draw that many cards. You could deal 0, 1, or 2, draw that many cards. This may cause her special ability to apply. Keep your hands to yourself. 3 value versatile Annie, 3 copies. After combat, move each fighter in the combat up to 2 spaces. Striking Beauty, 3 value boost, 1 value versatile, 2 copies. After combat, deal 1 damage to the opposing fighter. If you won the combat, deal 2 damage instead. Her defense, Mississippi Queen, 3 copies, 3 boost, 2 value defense card. Immediately. Damage cannot reduce Annie's health below 1 this turn. Captain's Orders Scheme, 2 copies. Place Annie in any empty space in her zone, then place another friendly fighter in an empty space in Annie's zone. Gain 1 action. A few more pearls. Deal 2 damage to each opposing fighter adjacent to Annie. 3 copies of that in the deck. And then her Annie cards, 4 value versatile. Better Together. 4 copies. After combat, if your fighter is adjacent to a friendly fighter, your fighter and each friendly fighter adjacent to them recover 1 health. 3 value versatile Annie, 2 copies, quite a pair. Immediately, you may reveal 2 cards from your hand with the same name. If you do, cancel all effects on your opponent's card. Long Shot, 3 value Annie, 2 copies. During combat, if the opposing fighter is not adjacent to your fighter, this card's value is 5 instead. 3 value Defense Annie, 2 copies, 3 boost. Slick Talker, immediately. Annie and Charlie may swap spaces. If they do, your other fighter is now the defender. Then the Charlie cards his attack, bottom dealing, 2 copies. During combat, reveal the bottom card of your deck. Increase the value of this card by the boost value of the revealed card. Then put the revealed card on the top or the bottom of your deck. A Charlie Versatile, the Turn and the River, 3 boost. After combat, draw 2 cards. 2 copies of that in the deck. Now Annie here is melee, but Charlie is ranged. And Charlie is a nice sidekick to have around. Being ranged, obviously, that's very beneficial. We'll see some of his cards up to why that is even more beneficial for him sometimes. She gets to add +2 value to her attacks if her health is lower than the defender. So if your health is lower, you're getting +2. So it's kind of a fine line, a balance you got to do during the whole game of mitigating your own health and your opponent's. You really have to pay attention to both you and your opponent's health. Here we have this card, a 5 value attack. Obviously, we know that's going to be good, right? 3 copies. The effect, though, is deal up to 2 damage to Annie and draw that many cards. All right, so it could possibly be a 7, and you only have to deal up to 2. So you could deal 0, 1, or 2. So if you only need to deal 1 to get just a little bit lower health to be able to get 2 extra attack, maybe that's what you want to go for. Don't be afraid to drop your health, even just by 1. To get that extra. This card can be dangerous. Also, don't be afraid to not drop it at all and just use the 5. A 5 is good just as well. And you have 3 copies, right? Keep your hands to yourself. This card's pretty much all about positioning. I don't need to say too much about that, but you get to move each fighter in the combat up to 2. So you're moving for positioning depending on the map, depending on what you want to do next. Positioned properly so that you can do that, right? So certain characters like Medusa, you can position them away after you use this as an attack so that they can't deal you that ping damage, stuff like that. I mean, use your imagination. Striking Beauty, not very good right off the bat with a 1, right? But keeping in mind it could be a +2, so it could be a potential 3, and 3s are average. And you're dealing a damage after combat to the opposing fighter. 2 if you win. So it's kind of nice for that, right? Striking Beauty, 2 damage, possibly... or 2 extra on that, and you're dealing that auto damage at the end. So that's pretty sweet. Mississippi Queen, stay alive, right? This is the card that keeps you staying alive. Damage cannot reduce Annie's health below 1 this turn. Isn't that crazy? So you have 3 of these. The thing with this, though, this is all types of damage, not just combat damage, and it's for the rest of the turn. So if they attacked you for a second attack and you already played this, well, yeah, and you're already at 1 health, don't play another defense because they can't do anything about it, and they wouldn't want to play that if they were smart anyway, right? So you want this card late game usually. because of that. Then Captain's Orders. Captain's Orders, a lot of cool things you can do with this card. It's a very good movement. You get to place her in any space in her zone, then you place another friendly fighter in an empty space in any zone, so then, Charlie can then be placed. If she moved from her zone to another with the multi-zone, he could be shot across the board to somewhere else and do an attack. And not just one attack, because you gain the action. So you could do a double attack with Charlie. You could also just do double attacks with Annie. So they have to be careful with positioning with that threat of that card in your hand. And there's 2 copies of that in the deck. And then we have a few more pearls. It's a pass, right? And there's times 3. 3 passes. That's always nice to see. And it's that ping damage of 2 to each opposing fighter adjacent to Annie. So position yourself well. You can get rid of some sidekicks. You're dealing 2 damage. And it's not really hard to get that off to a hero or, the sidekicks. Really good card. A few more pearls. Then you have Better Together. A 4-value versatile is excellent. Excellent. And it's at any. And Charlie's ranged. And there are 4 copies in the deck. That's the best part. After combat, if your fighter is adjacent to a friendly fighter, your fighter and each friendly fighter adjacent to them recover 1 health. Wow. So you're recovering health. That's a potential 4 times throughout the game. Keeping in mind your ability so it doesn't conflict with that, so that you can still get that +2 on your attacks, balancing that throughout the game. Quite a pair. You may reveal 2 cards from your hand with the same name. If you do, cancel effects on your opponent's card. 2 copies. Well, the card I like to keep in my hand is the Mississippi Queen, because I don't use it till end of game usually, and there are 3 copies. So if you keep 2 of those in your hand, you constantly would get this fate. And once you're done with both of those, you don't need to keep them in hand. Maybe use Mississippi Queen to boost with a 3 or something like that. Quite a pair. Good card, even though it's a conditional feint. It is 3. All right, Long Shot. If the opposing fighter is not adjacent to your fighter, this card's value is 5 instead. Well, I alluded to this card, right, at the beginning, that this can be a 5 with ranged with Charlie. Now, it also can be a 5 on defense as Annie or Charlie with enemies in their ranged attacks, right? So 5 defense, it's going to force them to be adjacent or just not get through with damage if they're the ranged fighter. Then here we have Slick Talker. This is an any card as well. It can help keep Charlie alive and get you to the HP you need with Annie, because you have that choice. You may swap spaces, and so you can keep Charlie alive, and you can also have a little mitigation for your own health pool and such. Now, looking at the Charlie cards, the bottom dealing, I'd say for this, choose wisely to put which card on top or bottom of your deck. So if you have maybe, say, a good boost, you could keep it on bottom to save for the next bottom dealing. If it's not, you can put it on top, for example. Or if it's a card you think you might need, or like a Mississippi Queen, you could put near the bottom or something like that. All right, and then the Turn in the River. This is pretty simple. It's a 2, not that great, but even when Charlie's dead, you can use the 3 boost to get around the map a little easier. And then drawing 2 cards, it is how you can draw cards, right? And drawing cards is nice for pressure, and there's 2 copies, so that's 4 essential cards you would draw. So as Annie Christmas, what are you going to want to be doing? Well, you got to manage your health resource. See it as a resource and manage it so that you can get your +2. You're also trying to manage your opponent's health and be in control of the health pools so that you can deliver that finishing blow. You're walking the blade of a knife. It's a dance. This whole thing with her is a dance. You got to dance back and forth with your health to make sure that you are coming out on top. And you got to keep Charlie alive also. It's always good to keep your sidekick alive, right? Usually, unless you're like, Patroclus and Achilles. But keep Charlie alive so you can use his cards to their full value. You definitely want to be able to get those off, body block, be able to do long shot from a distance and stuff like that. It's very, very beneficial for Annie. And that is Annie Christmas. I hope that helps you understand her a little bit better as you balance her health throughout the game in your matches.